All right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry to keep you waiting, but it is time for yet another chapter of One Piece. So let's go ahead and get this little shindig started, shall we? Yo, peoples! Qushu92 here. Welcome back to more One Piece. Last we left out on, let me make sure that everything is lined up the way it's supposed to be. Low latency, yes, it's good to see that. It's good to see that as always. Last we left out on One Piece, we literally had Luffy punching Emu in the face. Then we have, basically have Zoro facing off against Somers, and we have Sanji facing off against Killingham. And we end the last chapter with Luffy in his Gear 5 state, coming face to face with Emu officially, meaning that Emu and Joy Boy reunite after 800 years. So let's see what happens in chapter 1188. If it'll full screen it. Oh, first, before we get started, we got a full double spread panel with basically all of the Straw Hats underwater. We get Nami just swimming right and hugging up on a giant sea turtle, while all the devil fruit users are enclosed in a bubble. Zoro's inside this bubble as well, just knocked out sleep. Frankie's with Robin. Jinbei is casually swimming by as all of the sharks salute him, and Sanji's, swimming after the turtle because Nami is snuggling up to the turtle because the turtle has like a big old giant crown on his head. And in the background, we have Usopp. Who's essentially running away from one shark. So we got the entire Straw Hat crew, like Chopper's enjoying himself, Brook is playing music, Luffy's being Luffy. Chapter 1188, Vohu. Hold up! Wait a minute! What are we starting this chapter on? What are we starting this chapter on? What is this dialogue, first of all? And we get a voice going, hello? Hello? Come in? Hello? Oh, wait. Hello? No. Chapter 1188, Vohu. Hello? Hello, come in. Hello? Huh? What? Huh? Who are you? Moo. I am Emu. Who art thou? Oh, me? I'm Joy Boy. We're hearing dialogue of Joy Boy and Emu meeting for the first time. Good God! And we cut back to the present where Emu is musing to himself. Indeed, Joy Boy is long dead. So why dost thou remind Moo of that time? And Luffy is just face to face with Emu. And while he's in the air, Emu cloaks his arm in flames. And Luffy's like so confused because everyone keeps calling him Joy Boy, but Luffy has no idea who that is. And he's going, how should I know? And Emu tries to punch Luffy, but Luffy's head literally just extends downwards and he dodges it. And the flames on Emu's arm start speaking. Huh? He dodged! Below us! Down! And Emu's arm starts to extend like Luffy's. And as it chases after him, Emu then... This is like Luffy and his jet culverin. This is like his jet culverin. It bends and it goes after Luffy and it nails him directly in the head. And it hits Luffy hard enough for, well, essentially, Emu punches him all the way down into the ground and it culminates in a big explosion that Luffy is engulfed in. And all we get is Luffy's legs just popping up out of the, wiggling and shaking out of the hole he's been punched into. And then he jumps back into the air, face all scorched. And he goes to punch Emu, and Emu instantly dodges him and is right behind him while Luffy's still charred. And then when Emu tries to hit him, Luffy disappears out of the way. These jokes, y'all remember that Shinigami Zukan, where it had Zomari Ruru versus Byakuya, and whose flash step and Sonito was the fastest, and they just keep flash stepping and backstepping against behind each other to see who's fastest, all the way out of the room, all the way through the desert of Hueco Mundo. It is literally that. Luffy tries to punch him, Emu's behind him. Emu tries to stab him, Luffy's behind him. And when that happens, he tries to sense behind him. He tries to sense behind him, but Luffy's actually not behind him. And while Emu's distracted, Luffy tries to hit him from the front. And Emu instantly blocks it with his staff. I was able to hit you before. And then Emu charges up another Omen Flame. Like another Omen Flame again. Like, I'm trying to do exactly how he did it. Yeah. He charges up another Omen Flame again. And he blasts Luffy. But Luffy dodges. Close one! And he just starts Looney Tuning his way through the entire environment as Emu continues to try to shoot Omen Flames at him over a long distance. Just Omen bullets. Oh, they're chasing me! Are those supposed to be bombs? Gum! Jet Gatling! And he punches the flames. He literally punches the flames in the face, causing the flames to scream and explode away from him. And then Luffy goes Gum again, much to Emu's surprise. Gum. What the heck is that? Hold on! What the heck is that? I beg your finest pardon? What did he do? Luffy? Gum Genie! Ho 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 ho! Oh yeah, I saw your fight with Loki! Luffy literally just morphed his entire body to look like someone else, complete with a beard. This dude has become Plastic Man. He is fully Plastic Man. I'm sorry. This is some Popeye nonsense right now. This goes beyond him just simply creating like goggles and a helmet and other pieces of clothing out of his state. He literally he doesn't even look like Luffy anymore. This is the furthest from Luffy he's ever looked. Gum Genie! And he literally has like a wispy smoke-like bottom half of his body. He literally looks like a genie. Ho 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 ho! Oh yeah, I saw your fight with Loki, and I won't let his death be in vain! And then Loki is just going, I'm still alive, you moron! Oh, hey Loki, you're alive! He just went full Robin Williams. He looks like Robin Williams genie complete with turban. And then Emu charges up more Omen Flames, and he aims at Loki. Oh crap! Darn it! Move, Ragnir! And Ragnir stands in front of Loki to protect him. Even though Ragnir's so small, he stands in front. It stands, because I can't say it's a he, but it stands in front of Loki, eyes closed, waiting for its demise. And before that happens, Go Senmaigara! Seiken! And Jinbei jumps up and using Arabesque Brick Fist, he blocks it with Go Senmaigara! And he completely blocks the Omen Flames. Let's go, Jinbei! And then Luffy, still in his genie state, goes, Jinbei! Luffy, do you want me to make sure he's protected? Yeah, perfect! Thanks, Jinbei, he's my pal! I ain't nobody's pal, stupid pipsqueak. So, Jinbei's in charge of protecting Loki. Alright, I can do that. You focus on the fight. Then Nami. Wait, that's Luffy? He's fighting that guy from before! Is he gonna be alright? Who is that guy anyway? And mind you, this is Usopp saying this. Then we have Brook, who's off on his own. The only people higher than the Knights of God are supposed to be the 5 elders, as far as I know. So maybe he's the Knights' commander.
I bet that's it.
There's no group more shrouded in mystery than the world government. And then we get Frankie.
Hey, Brooke, she's almost out.
Ah, Princess Shuri!
What's our next step? What does one do with a frozen person?
Well, let's see. When Robin and Luffy got frozen...
They've been frozen before!
And mind you... Yeah, mind you, this is before Frankie fully joined the team. No, wait. Wait a minute. Wait, who's saying that? Wait, they've been frozen before. No, I think this is Frank. Wait, who's saying this? Who's saying this? Well, let's see. When Robin and Luffy got frozen. Oh, no, this is Brooke going. What's our next step? What does one do with a frozen person?
Well, let's see. When Robin and Luffy got frozen.
They've been frozen before. That makes more sense that Brooke's the one saying this. And then Imu's looking over in Gunko's direction. Gunko, couldst thou not break that ice? Come. A man with an afro calling Gunko Princess Shuri. Could it be? Caught you sleeping, bullet! And Luffy, in his genie state, tries to punch Imu, and Imu literally just blocks him with just one hand. Were thou not watching earlier? And he charges up another one. What was it called? What was it called? Stigma. He charges up another stigma and aims it at Luffy.
Wee! Ah!
Watching what happened to Loki, despite his size. Stigma! And Imu tries to hit Luffy with Stigma, but Luffy pops. Like he pops in a puff of smoke and goes right back into his like normal G5 state. And then Imu charges up more Omen Flames and launches them at Luffy, and they start chasing him. And he's screaming as Imu drops to the ground. And he starts spinning his staff around. And then... Wait a minute. No. He spins his staff around. And then the whole staff turns into an Omen Flame. And then it goes into that big giant ring of eyes over him. And then out of that ring comes a sword. Blade of Nothingness. Vohu. And when he does, there's a full-grown tree next to him, and it instantly starts to wither and die, just being near his sword. The heck is this sword? This sword, just by being pulled out, is draining the life out of everything around him. Yo. He literally drained every single tree that's off the branch of all of their leaves and life just from the sword being out. And then it gives them a clear view of Luffy. Huh? The forest dried out! The view is clearer now. Same from up here! And then Luffy is in the air, but Imu jumps from the ground and starts launching towards Luffy. Of course I know that thou art not Joy Boy. Huh? And then we get Imu's eyes. And then Luffy coughing up blood. And then the Omen Flames right behind him. And then Luffy kind of shuddering and shaking and screaming. Ah! But the Omen Flames are going, Yow! Ah! Joy Boy was not this weak. And Imu impales Luffy. Bro, I'm sorry. I am sorry. Luffy's been stabbed like clear through his chest. I haven't seen Luffy this badly beaten by an opponent since Kaido. Um, wow. Okay, let me see if I can bring up chat and see what you guys have been saying. Um, wow. Just let me see chat. There we go. Q, remember I told you about getting spoiled? This was that panel. I couldn't enjoy the chapter at all in my first reading because of that. Also, it's really similar to Crocodile versus Luffy round 1. Yeah, this was literally a first time Luffy's first loss in Gear 5. Gear 5 has lost to Emu. Yeah, okay, let's just talk about this for a second. Firstly, this is an Emu versus Luffy centric fight. We begin this chapter with apparently dialogue between the original Joy Boy and Emu meeting for the first time. Now, mind you, it's not a physical meeting; it's more so like a transponder of voice call. It's like a call between them. And Emu's just thinking about this, apparently with his first meeting of Joy Boy, and in the present, Luffy is fighting him. And Emu continues to use his Omen Flames against Luffy, and we see that there's more. There's more to Emu's ability to use Omen Flames, because the same way Luffy's able to bend his body in different directions when he's using different gears, Emu is capable of morphing his body with the use of Omen Flames, to the point where he's able to extend his arms around as if he's using Jet Culverine. Literally changing the angle of which his punches go, because when he punches Luffy in the head after Luffy dodges the initial punch, it literally bends in different angles in order to fully hit Luffy. Luffy hasn't had to face an opponent that is capable of matching him sort of like this since Katakuri. And we got 16 people watching? Good lord. Hey, everybody. But we haven't seen Luffy face off against an opponent who's capable of matching his creativity of using his body to attack since Whole Cake Island. And he gets punched into the ground. Luffy gets up, charred, and he tries to hit Emu. Emu disappears and is behind Luffy. Emu tries to hit Luffy, and Luffy disappears. And when Emu tries to look behind him, Luffy's in front, but Emu still blocks him. And Luffy's wondering, I was able to hit you before. And then he tries to use more Omen Flames on him. And then Luffy uses Jet Gatling to dissipate the bombs themselves. And then we see a new transformation from Luffy with Gum Gum Genie. Literally, Gum Gum Genie. Literally changing his... This isn't... Okay, so when we've seen Luffy, like take up different appearances when he's using his different states, it was either like enlarging his body. And the most we've seen his body transform was literally when he did Gum Gum Giant. He literally became giant size. But here is the first time we see that Gear 5 is more than just simply enlarging his body and morphing parts of it into different things. He literally changed his physical appearance that you could, if you were to see this panel the first time, you would not be able to tell that it was actually Luffy. If you saw Luffy and then put this panel next to each other, you wouldn't be able to tell if it was Luffy because his entire face changes. He gets like a reddened nose. The scar is still the same, but his entire appearance turns into that of an actual genie. Think of Daifuku's GD, except he doesn't have like a full-on beard and full-on mustache and beard. He just has a very long flowing beard, and his whole body is just completely different from the way he looked before. So this is the first time we see that, wow, there's a lot more variety when it comes to transforming one's body by using the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika. Because this is the most extensive that Luffy has actually changed his appearance using Gear 5. And he's saying, like, I won't let Loki's death be in vain. If you look closely, instead of having a gem on his turban, Luffy has a piece of meat. Yeah, on his turban, he has like a piece of meat as the pendant that goes on the turban itself. But he's complete with like actual armbands, like actual bracelets on his arms. He's got earrings in both ears. Like, this is crazy that he changed his appearance so extensively. Now, he's saying, like, Loki's death won't be in vain, and Loki's all like, I'm still alive, you idiot! And then, when it looks like Imu's about to launch Omen Flames at Loki, who still can't move because he's grievously injured, Ragnar stands up in front of him in order to protect him, despite the fact that Ragnar is too small to actually shield him. Jinbei comes in with the Arabesque Brick Fist and dissipates all of the Omen Flames. And then Jinbei is volunteering to protect Loki, while Luffy deals with Imu. And Nami and Usopp are wondering who exactly Imu is because they've never seen him before. Mind you, Usopp has already been the first individual from the Straw Hats to run afoul of Imu, but he didn't know it at the time. So seeing Imu actually here, he doesn't realize that this is the same person that was possessing Gunko earlier on. So they're wondering who he is, and only Brook is the one that says the only people higher than the Knights of God are supposed to be the Five Elders, as far as I know. And Usopp goes, so maybe he's the Knights Commander? I bet that's it. They don't realize that they're literally fighting the one true king of the world, the leader, supreme leader of the world government. There's no group more shrouded in mystery than the world government. Ain't it crazy? We know more about the revolutionaries than we do the Holy Knights. And we know more about the revolutionaries and the Marines than we do the upper echelon of the world government itself. We know more about CP9 than the entirety of the world government. Especially with the dealings of the Five Elders and Imu and the Holy Knights. We know more about everybody else except them. So Gunko's looking like she's starting to become more and more thawed out of ice, and everyone's wondering how to do it, how to get her out. Imu's going like, Gunko couldn't thou not break that ice? A man with an afro calling Gunko Princess Shuri, could it be? And Imu's all like, have I seen this person before? Which indeed he has, because same Brook from like 80 years ago, well, almost 80 years ago. And Luffy tries to hit Imu with the gum caught you sleeping bullet. Like, if he actually got Imu with the gum caught you sleeping bullet, because he literally tried to blitz him. But Imu stops him, and then tries to use Stigma on him. And Luffy, goes into his regular state, and dodges. And as the Omen Flames are chasing after Luffy, keeping him occupied, Imu drops to the ground, spins his staff, changes it into an Omen Flame, meaning that the staff that we saw him come to literally appear in Elbaf with was nothing more than a transformed Omen Flame. It's not even his one and only weapon, because all he does is just spin it around, it pops into an Omen Flame, and then it goes into the ring of fiery eyes that's hovering around him. And then another flame comes out in the appearance of a very lone Falchion. I don't know the right pronunciation, but it's not like a broadsword. It's the type of sword where it starts to really extend and taper off at the end, like it extends and then curves upwards. It comes out, and we learn that this sword is called Blade of Nothingness Vohu. And just the mere presence of this sword being out, it has like a wavy metallic design that goes across it, and then of course the sheen of the sharp metal that goes across the bottom half of it, and then black flames just emanating from the more flatter side. but just the mere presence of this sword being out causes every tree around him to wither and die and literally be robbed of all moisture and life. It literally robs every tree around him of life. Every tree, every leaf is just gone. It doesn't fall around him, they're just gone. They just evaporate into nothing. And while Luffy's running, Imu's saying like the view is clear now, and Luffy's going like same from up here, and Imu at a speed that even Luffy can't even catch up to. Imu blitzes Luffy and proceeds to stab him through the chest, saying like, "Of course I know that thou art not Joy Boy. Joy Boy was not this weak," meaning that even despite all the strength that Luffy has, Joy Boy was leagues stronger than him. So everything we've seen Luffy do, he is nowhere near the level of Joy Boy. And we should already know this due to the fact that when Joy Boy's haki literally emanated from Emmett, just from a piece of rope, 800 years later, it was capable of folding every single member of the Elders. But yeah, that blade looks like a Damascus blade. It does. Yeah, that's exactly what the wavy lines reminds me of, because those are the same designs that are on a Damascus ingot in Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Damascus steel has that sort of wavy type design saturated in the metal. So this is a high grade blade. This is a high grade blade, and Luffy has just been impaled on it. Our main protagonist has been humbled in his strongest, most freed state, literally impaled in the chest. And what day is this? This is just the 12th. This is just the 12th of July. This is the second Sunday of July, and Luffy's been impaled through the chest. Like, what in the world? So, let me go through what all you guys have said and acknowledge everyone. I see so many people in here. Zakaruga is good to see. Good to see all of you. Hold on, let me see. I see Kohagen and Kratos, DJ, always good to see you. Ravi, Holster. I was able to hit you before, he says, appearing out of nowhere while Imu's focus was on Loki. Luffy turned into a genie. Yeah, he can do that. His turban was a meat. Jinbei clutch. You ain't never had a friend, never had a friend. You ain't never had a friend. Yeah, I love singing that song. Potots! I'm late. Hello, Jack. Hello, Potots. If this is your first time here, I hope you enjoyed everything I did so far. We'll go through the summary in a moment as soon as I make sure I acknowledge everyone. Zakaruga. Let's see. Ozzy! Trust me, Imu, you're not the first person to call Luffy weak, nor will you be the last person to ever eat those words. Imu did the crocodile. Well, this part of the fight didn't last that long. I'm afraid Imu may destroy some of the Atom Tree with his Void Sword powers, but I hope I'm wrong. Imu impaling Luffy reminds me of Crocodile's moment in Alabasta. So Luffy added another L to his L's collection. This is getting old, Oda. Not really, because this shows that despite everything we've seen Luffy do, he's not where he needs to be to fully take on Imu. All this, he managed to get... what Luffy managed to do... This is literally everyone. This is literally everyone fighting Thanos, and then Iron Man comes in and punches him in the face, and Thanos just said like all that for a drop of blood. This is literally that moment. Imu gets punched in the face. That's the most amount of blood that's drawn from him from Luffy, and winds up like Iron Man stabbing him. Let's see, Q, remember I told you? Okay, I said that already. Gear 5 had to get humbled. Gum Gum Genie. Nah, Luffy get Gum Gum serious. Luffy was messing about to be fair, so this was to be expected. Well, people can't complain now by saying that this battle was easy for Luffy. Based off of what? Just because Luffy punched Imu in the face and managed to land a solid hit on him? Off of one punch? I would not be saying that. Just because one punch landed don't mean that all of them are going to land. This is an individual who apparently has fully mastered his. Think about this for a second. This is an individual who has been alive for 8 centuries. 8 centuries to perfect his abilities to the utmost. We don't know of any other devil fruit user in existence who has had the almost millennia. This is crazy. This man has been alive for almost 200 years shy of a full millennium. He has had plenty of time to perfect every single aspect of his abilities to the absolute pinnacle of what it can do. And we don't even know if the state he is currently in right now can truly be seen as him being awakened, or maybe, and this will be scary, maybe he's reached a level where this goes beyond awakening, and that's the reason why he has a ring of flames behind him, and it's not like a cloak of flames behind him. I'm just saying, it might just be something that's unique to the devil fruit itself, to the devil's fruit itself. But this is an individual who has had plenty of time to explore every single nook and cranny of his power, and then use them to such a degree that they might as well be as natural to him as breathing. And as we've seen, this is the state. No other devil fruit user in history has had the amount of time to perfect their devil fruit as much as Emu has. So that's kind of scary to me. This is literally the first time Luffy's first loss in Gear 5. Gear 5 has lost to Emu. Now Loki held up his own. Now, let's not downplay Loki. Loki held up his own as much as he could. However, Emu has so many different abilities in his repertoire that you would need to have as much time as you would need to have Batman level prep time in order to be fully ready to fully take him on. Because we've seen we've seen Gram, we have seen Stigma, and we have seen Vohu. And Vohu looks to be insanely strong because it literally kills everything. Every plant life just literally dies around him just by holding the sword forward, every tree in that vicinity literally dies and loses all of its leaves. Full thick trunks of trees get reduced to literal kindling. It's crazy. This is a nerf Emu 2, which is crazy. Yeah, according to Sandman, Emu and Joy Boy was children when they were talking. So is that the tone? Interesting. I do feel like Emu took Luffy a bit more serious than he did Loki. Literally in the Loki fight, he was smirking, and we saw one or two goofier moments from Emu, such as him screaming out loud, is that something Joy Boy, literally having a mouth come halfway down his stomach type deal. Zoro and Sanji has to win their fight, so it would weaken Emu once they defeated the God Knights. Because they are contracted, that would affect Emu if God Knights are killed. Right, because when Harold died, Emu suffered the repercussions of that. But even that being said, yeah, Loki does feel way more impressive performance-wise, I gotta admit. I want to see Luffy having a fight against a big shot without taking L's. Tekking has a thumbnail of Daifuku's genie. What's crazy is that Luffy said he reached his peak, but after this, I am like, we are gonna go a level beyond Gear 5, because that would be nuts. Luffy says this is the form where he's his most free. I finally reached my peak. But now his peak has peaked. His peak has peaked. He's been impaled. This is the most serious injury that Luffy has ever suffered. He's gone through a laser grid and came out of it saying like it really hurt having to go through that twice. We've seen him get smacked around by one of the strongest pirates in the verse before his defeat, Kaido. And it literally was a comedic moment for Luffy because his head was in the shape of Kaido's Kanabo. Luffy going up against Kizaru, swallowing lasers, which shouldn't be possible. Fighting against the elders as best he can, even though they really didn't do anything. Hold on, family's calling in. All right, I'm back. But Luffy's been royally messed up at this point. Hold on, let me see if I can go to back where I was. Luffy has a, let's see, yeah. Luffy's apparently reached his peak at this point because he's been impaled. We've never seen Luffy grievously injured. We've seen him fight off against pretty much everybody, and him come out of it more or less unscathed. But he's fighting Emu, and Emu's all like, "You are not Joy Boy because Joy Boy was not this weak." Meaning that Luffy still has much to learn. Even in his gear. And the thing is, with this particular panel, Luffy is impaled! His whole body is just, his whole white visage is just covered in blood now. Just impaled on the sword of Emu, just hanging there. Blood out of his mouth, blood all over his chest, blood down his arms and legs. He's literally turning red instead of white in this state. It's oh. And are we going on break after this? This seems like a chapter where you going on break. Where you go on break? Zoro has a way apparently to slice Sommer's metal heart, and Sanji is about to unlock his Conqueror's Haki. So yeah, Zoro and Sanji has to win against Sommer's in Killingham. Do Zoro and Sanji actually kill them though? I don't see them killing them. Beating them, absolutely, but I don't see them killing them. This was a very short chapter. It was all fight, but it was just one chapter. Luffy might be down next couple of chapters. We haven't seen Luffy be injured this harshly. Like, we have not seen him be injured this harshly. Ever since he got Gear 5, it was like, okay, this is the best I can do. Now, I am so strong that I'm not too worried about fighting everyone. I'll just get through it just fine. This is the first time we see Luffy actually be injured in such a way that it could possibly be life-threatening. The sword is going through his body. He hasn't been impaled since Crocodile. Now, mind you, him getting gored in the side by Katakuri is a completely different matter. Him getting impaled through the chest is a whole different story. And one thing that I think all of us should really be concerned about is the fact that this isn't some ordinary sword he's been stabbed with. He's been stabbed by a sword that's literal presence, has literally killed all tree and plant life around it just from it being drawn. So who knows what this sword is actually doing to Luffy other than stabbing him? Also, let's play it safe and say Luffy is out of commission for a while after this. Are we about to get Jinbei versus Emu? Because surely that's where Emu's headed next now, since Loki and Shuri are there. The sword is named like the title. Yeah, the sword. So this chapter is called Vohu. The sword is called Vohu. Maybe we get another interaction between Emu, Brook, and Usopp. We are going to get another Oars moment again with Straw Hats stalling Emu while Luffy and Loki recovers. The Straw Hats need to step up, especially Usopp. Also, more Mihawk upscale, kidding Emu is an anomaly. I can't wait to see JD Legend's reaction. I can't wait to see everyone's reactions to literally Luffy being stabbed through the chest. This is a reminder that Straw Hats aren't ready yet for bigger and strongest characters, not just Emu. If their captain was able to get touched, how will they protect Luffy? Getting notified of One Piece heroines on Netflix. Thank you. I bet everything he will talk Luffy. He will trash talk Luffy to oblivion. Zoro, Sanji, and Jinbei are strong fighters, but what about the other weak Straw Hats? Also, if this sword sucks life and stuff from trees around it, what's it about to do to someone impaled by it? Yeah, you just said it. I didn't even realize you had said it earlier on. I didn't even see that part. Let's see, I disagree. This is an instance Luffy needed humbling whilst in Gear 5. This fight with Luffy versus Emu is like when you gather all the items and upgrade all your skills in Elden Ring, right? Elden Ring, but then you gotta fight Malenia. This is actually another good comparison would be like you're gathering all the materials and all the gear and all the strongest stuff that you can possibly get, and you fight Lucilius and Relink. It's like that. It's like fighting Lucilius for the first time. You have no idea what all he can do, yet you fight Lucilius, and he literally starts the fight, lasering everybody in sight. I could already see Emu's moveset in Pirate Warriors. I already want Emu as a playable character in Pirate Warriors. It doesn't have to be Pirate Warriors 4, it needs to be 5. It needs to be 5. Because 5 needs to go as far as Elbaf. If we ever get a Pirate Warriors 5, We need to have Emu as a playable character. This Joker has showcased far too many things for him not to be a playable character. There is simply no way. Let's see. If Vohu can drain life energy from everything around him without even coming into contact, I don't know whether it will affect Luffy since he's literally being stabbed by it. I wonder if we get Gear 6, the last one. If Oda wants to stick with the reference of 56 with Gomu Gomu, Gear 6 could be like Gear 5, but maybe way more stronger or another form. But my thing is, how would that... My question for that would be... My question for that would be, how much further can this fruit go if the only state we've known has been Gear 5, and even Joy Boy was able to, even Joy Boy was in the visage we see of Joy Boy is literally in a Gear 5 state. Who knows if there's a state beyond that? So the question is, just how strong was Joy Boy if he was able to fight Emu on an even playing field or even surpass him? If Emu says Joy Boy was not this weak despite everything that Luffy has done, it means that Joy Boy was literally leagues beyond Luffy's strength the way it is right now, despite everything that Luffy knows. Also, is it just me, or is there a lot of emphasis on stabbing people in the chest this arc? There's a lot of people getting stabbed in the chest. First, we get Loki getting stabbed straight through the chest with Stigma. Well, first, he got stabbed in the shoulder by Grom, and then he got stabbed through the shoulder again, even worse, with Stigma, and now we have Luffy getting stabbed straight through the chest with Vohu. What is it with all the impaling? In this particular arc, there's been so much impaling in this arc. Remember, the first time we see someone being impaled is literally Harold by all of his guards when we were being told the backstory of why everyone hates Loki. That's the first instant of someone being impaled. And the trend just continues throughout the arc. Remember that Gabin said, if you are still in Elbaf, come meet with me. I wonder if Gabin's going to tell Luffy that he has the Nika fruit and he is Nika. Maybe Luffy will think about getting stronger. Huh? Oh, wait, I understand it now. If Gabin's gonna tell Luffy about him being Nika? But the thing is, Luffy's already tired of people trying to say, like, oh, you're Joy Boy. Oh, you're Nika. I have no idea who this is. I don't care about who this person is. I'm Luffy. So I don't know if Gabin telling Luffy about the fruit power that he has and who Nika is and who Joy Boy is really going to matter much to Luffy, because people have been telling him he looks just like the Warrior of Legend, the Warrior of Liberation, Nika, and Joy Boy and everything. I think he's pretty much stated that he's tired of people calling him that. But that'll probably have to be a conversation for another time. That is definitely not going to be right now. Let's see. The only way for Luffy to get stronger and be on Joy Boy's level is to master Conqueror's Haki. The Joy Boy's Haki level during Egghead arc, whatever that is, like, that could be another type of Haki. It's crazy we're getting closer and closer to a Joy Boy reveal. Most of him was silhouette, but we do get to see his mouth, and no one's surprised it's extremely Luffy-esque design-wise. The same way Roger, when he was younger, had a very Joy Boy-esque looking face too. And then we have Luffy, whose smile is very reminiscent of Roger's. Joy Boy versus Emu must have been like Hashirama versus Madara. Other people started experimenting with Hashirama cells, but never could reach the level of Hashirama. Right now, Luffy is in that state. Luffy may have the power of Nika, but he is no Joy Boy. That is very clear. People call him the new Joy Boy, but the Joy Boy of the past was far stronger. He was literally the Hashirama to Emu's Madara. Luffy needs to understand what's the extent of his powers to understand Gear 5 a lot more. I feel like Luffy not only needs to understand the fullest extent of the Nika fruit, but also the fullest extent of Haki in general. Imagine Joy Boy has the hair of Inaki from live action. Joy Boy's got curly hair while Luffy has like the loose spiky. That would be funny if Joy Boy's hair is literally patterned after Inaki. That would be sick. Because Inaki is a good Luffy. For live action, he is a very good Luffy. It would be sick if Oda actually immortalized Inaki's visage in One Piece, in the One Piece manga itself, as the look of Joy Boy. That would be sick. But I caught up to everyone. Y'all already know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for the summary. Let's go ahead and get it. Because I got shrimp on the way. All right, cool. Here we go. So in Japanese, the title of Bohu is pronounced Bofu. Bofu. Long summary. Imu thinks back to when he first met Joy Boy and reminds himself that Luffy isn't him since he is long dead, yet that doesn't stop him from seeing him in Luffy. Imu wraps his arm in black flames and shoots it like a fist at Luffy, who quickly moves his head down to avoid it. However, Imu's flame fist redirects itself and hits Luffy, blasting him into the ground in an explosion. Luffy gets back up and into the air, but Imu teleports to dodge Luffy's punch and gets behind him to stab him with his staff, only for Luffy to dodge instantly and fire a barrage of punches that Imu successfully blocks with his staff. To Luffy's annoyance, since he could hit him so easily prior, Imu fires his Omen at Luffy, which he barely dodges, and goes on the defensive by running around him. Imu fires Omen at Luffy that home in on him, but Luffy destroys them using Gomu Gomu no Jet Gatling. Luffy then uses a new attack called Gomu Gomu no Genie, transforming into a large genie form as he declares that he won't let Loki's death be in vain since he watched his fight with Imu prior, though Loki yells he is in fact not dead to Luffy's delight. Imu sees Loki and fires Omen at him, with Ragnir trying to shield him despite Loki's protests. Thankfully, Jinbei protects both of them with Karaksagawara Seiken. See, I was wrong. It was not Gosen Maigara. But I feel like I said that simply because I like the sound that it makes, but it was Karaksagawara Seiken. But it's Karaksagawara Seiken, and asked Luffy if he would like him to protect Loki while he fights Imu. And Luffy answers he does, since it will make his fight with Imu easier, and he considers Loki his friend, a sentiment Loki does not share. Nami and Usopp are surprised to see Luffy fight Imu, as the former wonders who Imu exactly is. Brook states that as far as he is aware, the only one above the Knights of God are the Five Elders, which makes Usopp believe Imu is the Knights' commander. But Brook is unsure, as he admits the world government is the most mysterious organization in history. So mysterious that they literally want to wipe away all knowledge of their history so that no one can ever know where they came from. Regardless, the ice continues to melt as the Straw Hats wonder what to do with Gunko next once she is free. Imu is surprised to see that Gunko wasn't able to break free of the ice when he attacked it earlier, and even more so, he hears Brook address Gunko as Shuri, which makes him wonder if he was the same individual he encountered that fateful day in Esperia. Luffy tries to take advantage of Imu's distraction and attacks him with Gomu Gomu no Caught Ya Slipping Bullet, but Imu easily blocks it and attaches some Omen to Luffy's beard in preparation for another Stigma attack. This forces Luffy to turn back to normal to avoid it, and Imu fires Omen at Luffy again, forcing him on the run once more. Imu lands on the ground and summons a new sword from the ring on his back called Bofu, which starts draining all the life in the nearby trees to Luffy's shock. Thanks to that, both of them have a clear view of each other, but Imu instantly teleports to Luffy and stabs him with Bohu, telling it says Bofu up here, but it's Vohu. Thanks to both of them have a clear view of each other, but Imu instantly teleports to Luffy and stabs him with Vohu, telling him that he knows he isn't Joy Boy because he was far stronger than what Luffy is right now. And they don't have any chapter notes yet because they haven't updated the wiki. But this is where we're at. This is where we're at. Luffy has reached a stopgap. He has reached a stop to where he needs to get stronger than where he is right now. Because Luffy has not been this injured before. Ever. Are we going on? And the thing I need to know is, are we going on break after this chapter? If we're going on break, it would make so much sense. Very great chapter, despite being short. It was all fight between Luffy and Emu. This is a realization from Luffy. It has to be. This has to be. Because ain't no way Luffy's gonna look at himself getting stabbed and be all like, nah, I'd still win. I'd still win. This can't be like a, I'm so strong, I'm Gojo level, and I can't be beaten at all. We know how that turned out. Luffy needs to get stronger. Yeah, we're going on break. Thank you, Ozzy. Thank you so much, Ozzy. But, yeah. Luffy, Gear 5 has been humbled. It is a break next week. Thank you. Don't worry, Ozzy took care of that. Gear 5 has been humbled. Gear 5 has been fully humbled. The strongest state that Luffy could be in, that was capable of bringing down the strongest creature in the world. And no, I don't mean Yujiro Hanma. I mean Kaido. Brought down one of the most powerful characters we have ever seen. Has been completely humbled by Emu. This makes me more terrified of Emu's power. Fully terrified of Emu. Because what we've been seeing from Emu, think about this for a second. What if every single one of those eyes on Emu's ring of eyes, omen ring that he's got behind him, what if there's a weapon for every single eye? Wouldn't that be crazy? Because we've seen like a giant claymore. We've seen a staff. And now we have a Damascus blade that drains all life around him. Because I want to go over to Emu once again, and then the power of the Akuma no Mi. Because I want to see if they actually updated it. If they didn't, then it's fine. It's fine. I don't care. I'll just look at it later once they do. Let me see. Nemesis, Gazing Eclipse, Gram, Stigma, Bofu. Ooh, we got some trivia about Bofu as well. Yeah, we got some trivia about Bofu. If this page would stop resetting, thank you. Bofu, literally meaning emptiness sword, or blade of nothingness. After returning his glaive to the halo on his back, Emu conjures a new weapon out of its flames, a cutlass, with an ornate cup guard and a single-edged blade continuously ablaze with omen. The sword emanates what seems to be an invisible life-draining aura, strong enough that a single swing can reduce an entire swath of trees to dead, withered snags. After summoning this sword in his first battle against Luffy, Emu used it to easily impale the Emperor in his extremely resilient Gear 5 state. The archaic Hebrew word bohu, also romanized as vohu, denotes a state of formless, desolate emptiness. Its most famous occurrence in Genesis chapter 1, verse 2 of the Bible, via the phrase tohu wabohu, refers to the world's primeval void state before God created light. The base kanji kyomu similarly means nothingness, emptiness, nihility, void. The Viz manga calls the technique Blade of Nothingness Vohu. This is literally just called Blade. This is literally called Blade of Nothingness. Blade of Nothingness, Emptiness Sword. This is literally a blade of just pure nihilism. It's crazy. The references that Oda goes through to have all of this stuff. A blade meant to represent the emptiness before God created light. basically in Genesis 1 and 2. But wow. The emptiness of the world before God created light. In the beginning, God created God created the heavens and the earth. But this sword represents the emptiness before anything was formed. Mind you, if you're using the Bible as a reference. But wow, that is so cool. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. There's a lot more wow, there's a lot more imagery in Stigma as well. Let me read this one real quick. I'll say my piece and then I'll let you guys go. So for Stigma literally meaning vengeful demon sword, with his typical finger circle gesture to cast Omen, Emu launches small fireballs that attach themselves to one or multiple targets. These spheres of Omen function as target designators, subsequently allowing Emu to generate a flaming Suzu bell that, once rung, launches forth a massive black flame sword that auto-locks onto the Omen-marked spot, homing in on and impaling the target. The attack was first seen in use against Loki and Luffy, though it only managed to successfully hit the former. A stigma is a physical mark branded, cut, or tattooed onto someone's skin to disgrace them, e.g., a criminal or slave. In a religious context, it also refers to the crucifixion wounds of Christ. This is crazy. And of course, Gram is yet another one. Wait a minute. All of Emu's attacks deal with divinity from different mythologies and different religions. Cause Nemesis is the sword that he stabbed Loki with the first time. Nemesis is the goddess of divine retribution in Greek mythology. With Tzitzimidal, Tzitzimidal is a skeletal female deity from Aztec mythology, later considered a type of demon in post-conquest descriptions. They are associated with the stars seen around the sun during a solar eclipse. Gram is a legendary sword of Norse mythology, used by the hero Sigurd to slay the dragon Fafnir. Stigma is a physical brand or cut or tattooed into someone's skin to disgrace them, or in a religious context refers to the crucifixion wounds of Christ. And then Bohu is meant in another religious context, refers to the formless emptiness, primordial state of the world before God created light. There's a lot of deity and Christian not Christian mythology, but Christian terminology and, religious terminology. Let me say it like that. Religious terminology and mythology of different nations in every single one of Emu's very attacks themselves, which is crazy, which literally lines up with how Emu sees himself as basically God, and how those who are under Emu sees Emu as literally the great one, as the god of the world. I did not know that there was so many references to mythology and religious contexts as well. And the fact that there's so many, and we keep seeing, yo, Flip, good to see you. So as we see Emu creating more and more capabilities and showcasing more abilities, we see that Emu basically has, so far, he has the ability to create animated creatures that can move and sing in his immediate vicinity when he was around, which is the Soru crazy chapter, right? Right! Crazy chapter! He's showcased more abilities of different devil fruits. He literally has all the major devil fruits we've seen thus far incorporated in, but he has the abilities that are reminiscent of the Soru. He has the ability to force contracts with other individuals, which results in their immediate and absolute obedience, and can manipulate shadowy constructs like the Hobby no Mi and the Kage no Mi. Then he has the ability to use a book to manifest objects similar to the Buku Buku no Mi. Then he can utilize a circular area for spatial manipulation similar to the Ope Ope no Mi. Has immortal level regeneration similar to the Tori Tori no Mi model Phoenix. The ability to increase his size to various uses, and is similar to various uses of the Gomu Gomu no Mi and the Deka Deka no Mi. Additionally, the ability to elongate and stretch his appendages like the Gomu Gomu no Mi again, create steel bullets and bombs through black flames similar to the Buki Buki no Mi and the Bambu Bambu no Mi, has a sword home in on a target similar to the Mato Mato no Mi, can stretch and, well, they repeated the same thing twice for the Gomu Gomu no Mi. They already repeated that twice. We already did that. And then he has the ability to essentially teleport wherever he wants, similar to the Wapu Wapu no Mi. These are all of his abilities, and he keeps showcasing more and more devil fruit abilities. Do we think Luffy is getting up from this in this arc? That is a very difficult question to say now. He's been impaled through the chest, so I don't know. The question is, how much of this is omen, how much is the devil's fruit? And that's without including physiology. Yeah, that's a very good question. How much of this is actually the power of the omen flames? Or is the omen flames part of the Akuma no Mi? How much is omen flames, which is a completely separate thing, and how much is devil fruit? Are omen flames separate from the Akuma no Mi? And if it's combined together, that just makes it worse. That just makes it worse. He has too much power. Too much power. He has too much power. Too much power! I haven't even seen All for One have this much strength. This is crazy, and that's the same dude. The same dude who's capable of taking quirks and incorporating them for himself, but even then, those have limits. Imu literally showcasing so many overpowered devil fruits, and he's just using them casually. This Joker crazy. Omen should be part of the devil's fruit, right? It should be. As far as I know, when we look at the Akuma no Mi, the Omen is part of it as well. It's not just a chest. Like, I don't know how much you know about critical injuries, but the belly is fatal. If you want to survive, it's in the upper torso, which is indeed where Luffy got hit. Luffy got hit square in his entire midsection. That's the thing, because Imu is still leagues taller than him. So Luffy, not only did he, it's not just the chest. Like Flip says, it's not just the chest. The sword is literally going through his entire body. Worse than when this is actually, when you think about it. Remember in God of War 3? When he got, well, actually in God of War 2, when he got impaled by the sword, by the Blade of Olympus. And then in God of War 3, he impaled himself on the Blade of Olympus, and he had like this giant, massive scar. Nope, not midsection, heart side. If it goes through the middle, Luffy will never walk again. I'm talking, well, if you get stabbed in your midsection, are you saying like only halfway across your midsection, or do you just generalize and say getting stabbed in your middle counts as your midsection? So I'm not being very particular about how, like, which direction it was. He got stabbed in the middle. He got stabbed through the midsection. That's what this is here, is your midsection. This counts as your middle because your legs are on the bottom half, and your arms and your head are up here. They kind of count. They kind of count towards that just a little bit. But the scary thing is we don't know what this sword is going to do to Luffy's body. Because if the sword just being out kills everything around him. Yeah, but your spine? Yeah, your spine counts as well. But we don't know if he's stabbing him through the spine, however. We don't know if he's just stabbing him just a little bit shy of severing the spine. We don't know, because we're seeing like a side view. But it's still scary. It's still scary that a sword that can basically kill all trees just from it being out, what it can do to a body. We don't know. Luffy already got stabbed by Crocodile in Alabasta, but that was so long ago, and Luffy got magma by a Kainu. But the thing is, with the magma of a Kainu, that was literally Jinbei got impaled while the flames and heat of the magma went across Luffy's chest. But he didn't get impaled though. But Luffy, this is the first time he's been seriously impaled by something since Alabasta. And this is Luffy in his strongest state. Luffy back then, when he got impaled, didn't even have a concept of gears yet. And this is Luffy at his strongest. And he's literally just left hanging, impaled on a sword. If it's heart side, it destroys a full lung, pierces the heart and the intestines. He shouldn't be able to get up from this. Can't be sure though. Can survive though, but if it's mid, then the spine is severed. And yeah, this is without Vohu. Yeah, this is literally just Luffy being impaled on the sword. We don't know what the sword is going to do to Luffy while it's impaled on his body. Because all the trees around Imu instantly died the moment the sword was drawn. Instantly! We don't know what it'll do to a human body. We don't know if anyone's been catching up with that time I got reincarnated as a slime. And Rimuru recently used like this Storm Blade attack, which uses the power of Eldora, where the power of Eldora is so potent that if it enters a wound, it doesn't just cut into you. It literally destroys muscles and tissue within your body. It literally starts to break your body down from the inside. We don't know if that's the sort of thing that'll happen to Luffy while he's impaled. Do we forget that this man is made of rubber? Let me see. That's true, but at the same time, I don't know if his rubberness is going to help him, because out of all the states he's been in, this has been his most toughest, most resilient. He survived stuff that should not be survived, and yet here he's getting impaled. If he gets up with some I ate some food stuff, I'll be upset. I don't care, but I truly don't want to see that. Hopefully Imu wins this arc. We'll just have to see. The genie's still insane to me? Yeah, him fully changing his appearance to look like a genie is by far one of the craziest things I have ever seen Luffy do, and we've seen him do plenty of crazy things. But him basically turning into a completely different visage that wasn't just him enlarging his body, but it still had the look of Luffy. He literally fully changed his appearance completely. It's still crazy to me. But rubber is weak to sharp things? That's true. Luffy being impaled is not surprising, because while he is very resistant to blunt force trauma, and even more so with every gear he turns into, sharp weapons is literally one of the few things that can grievously injure him. If Luffy can turn into Genie, imagine he can turn into Sun Wukong or any gods. Gear 5 is insane. It is. But Gear 5 isn't enough. That's the thing. Gear 5 isn't enough. Because if Imu's looking at him saying like Joy Boy was not this weak, this is literally like Yamamoto getting hit by Chojiro's Bankai during the 1,000-Year Blood War arc and saying like, it's such a shame that your Bankai is in this state. Your Bankai was not this weak, and then proceeds to fry the guy. By the way, I wanted to talk about this, that Kratos said Omen, in my opinion, should not be the same as the Devil's Fruit. I think it should be something like Haki that anyone can tap into. But if that's the case, if it was truly something that anyone can tap into, then I don't see that though. Because if it's something that anyone can tap into, then anyone would be using Omen Flames as casually as Emu does. And then people would just be popping up Omen Flame and Omen Flame bombs and bullets and everything. And then being able to bestow Omen Rings around everyone else. So I genuinely think it's just coming from the Akuma no Mi itself. Because the power itself is too varied. Thing is, it shouldn't be easy, but at the same time, even if it shouldn't be easy, it's way too varied in its capabilities for it to be something that anyone can tap into, but it's very difficult to do. I don't know. It seems way too close to something that could be an offset of a mythical type devil fruit ability than something that people can learn if they just try hard enough. Like, we've seen what happens when someone is gifted an omen flame to another individual. They get supercharged to the point where the strength that they had before is leagues beyond what they had. There's just way too many applications for it to be something that basically anyone can just use, even if they trained for it. So and mind you, I'm not knocking what you're saying. Okay, everyone is entitled to what they think is the fullest extent of Emu's abilities, because even then, we still don't know how far it goes. But I am under the 100% thought that this is just a part of the Akuma no Mi itself. Emu's haki is called Maki. We do not know that. And Omen comes from the devil fruit awakened clouds, though. But not necessarily, because they're flames and not clouds. They're just a. I feel like they're just a part of Emu's entire visage as well. But we don't know the fullest extent of what Omen truly is and what this fruit truly is and what all it can do for us to have a 100% conclusion as to what it fully is, because we're seeing new stuff from Emu every single time he uses these abilities. He's always using something new, and each one is more devastating than the last. Let's just consider Luffy's L a minor setback. It has to be, because after this fight is over, Luffy's gonna have to come to terms that he is not strong enough to fight someone like Emu right now. And it'd be crazy if Oda says, like, well, time for everyone to go on a training montage for a little bit. Because after this, there is no way Luffy's gonna go like, well, let's continue on with our adventure and trying to make our way in and find the One Piece. Ain't no way that he gets beaten this badly, injured this badly, and goes like, yeah, I don't really need to do anything else after this. No, this is the time when everyone needs to 100% lock in and get stronger. Every member. But we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see. Once all the fighting's done, the children are saved. Not kidnapped, by the way, because there's no way that Zoro and Sanji are going to allow that to happen. But once everything is all said and done and everyone's gone their respective ways, things are going to have to lock in real quick. Seriously. Especially after Emu encounters the next Joy Boy and finds him wanting, but still wants to kill Luffy regardless, before Luffy can actually become a thorn in his side. That's when everybody's going to need to truly lock in, because Emu is the threat. Mind you, forget about Blackbeard, okay? Forget about Blackbeard. Emu is the threat right now. He is the major threat. An Emu versus Blackbeard fight would be crazy, though. See which one will win out in the end. Emu's will or Rox's will. But we'll have to see. But I gotta bring it to a close, ladies and gentlemen. I've been talking for way too long. I apologize for eating up so much of your time. I got food on the way, and I'm waiting for that to get here so that way I can eat it. Then we'll move on to Sakamoto Days. Then after Sakamoto Days, we'll move on to Hunter x Hunter. And then once I take another short break after Hunter x Hunter, then I'll do the next reaction for the newest One Piece episode and get that all done for you guys. And then I am going to pass out because it has been one very busy day. Let's see. I want to see Luffy fighting someone and not losing from the start. I don't care if he loses as long as it's a good fight. Let's see. I'm sick of people wanting him to lose. I've never been the type to want people to lose. You shouldn't have gotten here so late. Flip, you were doing your own thing. Don't ever feel like you have to be here earlier on. You're good. Also, Emu can just summon any God Knights. Imagine a new God Knights. Yeah, because we only know of Gunko, Killingham, Somers, and Shamrock. We don't know of, those are only 4. There are more, because remember, the Abyss Covenant was designated to 13 people. 5 of which are the Elders. 4 of which we know of already, but we don't know the rest. By the way, you missed my messages a few before. Oh, no, I saw it. I just didn't read it. It's just that we didn't win against the Gorosei. We didn't lose, but it wasn't a win. Imu is stronger than the Gorosei and Kaido, and Luffy certainly can't beat Kaido right now. Did you mean to say Luffy can't beat Kaido? Because we literally have we literally have the ending of Wano being him beating Kaido. Did you mean to say that? Let's see, I don't feel like the kids will be kidnapped. I think both Zoro and Sanji full power, you mean? But wasn't Kaido fighting at full strength, though? Despite him being in his man-beast state, Kaido was tired and injured. I feel like both Luffy and Kaido were both tired, and Luffy still beat him even when they were both tired. Well, then again, Luffy did get a breather eating some food and then went up there with Momonosuke. All the same. All the same, Luffy is in a state where, I mean, he still beat Kaido regardless. So let's just address it as it is. Luffy still beat Kaido regardless of Kaido being tired and everything. They both still went all out against each other. But Imu's stronger than Gorosei and Kaido, and Luffy certainly can't beat Kaido right now. Yeah, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. But Luffy's fighting. Luffy died after fighting Kaido. Yeah, he was pretty much died. And that wasn't until the fruit. He pretty much was, I want to say, comatose, pretty much on death's door itself. He almost died had it not been for the awakening. So even after he got up, yeah. But we know the story. But Imu is the greater threat right now, and Luffy is clearly not ready to fully fight Imu as he is right now. Because if Imu's saying like Joy Boy was not this weak, then Luffy is far too weak to fight Imu and win. That's where we're at. But I'm done. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a wonderful audience. Thank you. And if I had any new people come by for the very first time, I just want to say I appreciate you guys for tuning in. You could have been anywhere else on YouTube and you decided to be here. Since it appears that we're going on break for One Piece, yeah, we're going to have to just think. We're going to have to think about like how grievous everything has become for Luffy and company. So it should be interesting to see how we leave this chapter and go into the next one afterwards. So with that being said, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And only if you haven't already, and only if what I did here today was worthy of that to you, if I was truly worthy of that to you, check out my membership here on YouTube or my Patreon, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. And because I know you're coming back anyway. Have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples! I completely forgot to say, on to Sakamoto Days!